Staff Sergeant Riley Thompson had painted her sniper rifle bright pink as a joke, something to annoy the SEALs who never took her seriously. They called it Barbie's dream gun and laughed every time she carried it to the range. But when enemy forces positioned a high-value target 3,500 meters away in what they thought was an impossible shot, Riley's pink rifle was about to deliver the most devastating punchline in military history. The morning sun blazed over Forward Operating Base Vanguard in the contested Azraqi Mountains, casting long shadows across the training compound where Staff Sergeant Riley Thompson prepared for another day of being underestimated. Her custom sniper rifle, painted in shocking flamingo pink, gleamed like a neon beacon against the drab military equipment surrounding it. Riley had painted the rifle that color 18 months ago during a moment of pure frustration. After months of condescending comments, dismissive looks, and outright mockery from the SEAL team stationed at the base, she had decided that if they were going to treat her weapon like a toy, she might as well make it look like one. The decision had backfired spectacularly in terms of gaining respect, but it had achieved something more valuable. It made everyone underestimate what she was capable of accomplishing with that pink precision instrument. "Hey, Barbie! You bringing your dream gun to the range today?" called out Petty Officer Martinez from across the armory, his voice dripping with sarcasm. The other SEALs around him erupted in laughter, as they had every morning for the past year and a half. Riley didn't respond. She simply continued her methodical inspection of the rifle that had become both her burden and her secret weapon. Beneath the gaudy paint job was one of the most advanced sniper systems ever assembled, a custom Remington 700 with modifications that pushed the boundaries of long-range precision shooting. The barrel was hand-lapped to tolerances measured in thousandths of inches. The trigger was adjusted to exactly 2.5 pounds of pull with zero creep. The scope was a Schmidt & Bender 5 to 45 x 56 with custom turrets calibrated for her specific ammunition load. Every component had been selected, tested, and refined over years of obsessive perfectionism, but all anyone saw was the pink paint. "Riley, you heading to the 1,000-meter range?" asked Master Sergeant Davis, her immediate supervisor, as he approached with the day's training schedule. "Yes, Sergeant." Standard precision drills followed by experimental long-range work. Davis nodded approvingly. Unlike the SEALs, he had seen Riley's actual performance statistics and knew that her unconventional weapon consistently delivered results that defied explanation. Her accuracy ratings were off the charts, her consistency was machine-like, and her ability to make shots in adverse conditions had earned grudging respect from those who bothered to look past the paint job. "The SEALs requested observer positions for today's session," Davis mentioned casually. "Apparently they want to see what all the fuss is about." Riley's jaw tightened imperceptibly. She knew exactly what this meant. More opportunities for mockery, more jokes about her pink rifle, more condescending comments about whether she could handle real combat situations. "Understood, Sergeant. I'll be ready." At 0800 hours, Riley arrived at the extended range facility, a shooting complex capable of supporting precision fire out to 2,000 meters under controlled conditions. The morning was perfect for long-range shooting. Minimal wind, stable temperature, clear visibility extending beyond the mountain ridges. A group of 8 SEALs had positioned themselves at the observation area, their expressions ranging from amused skepticism to outright dismissal. Riley recognized most of them, elite operators with impressive combat records who viewed her as an oddity that didn't belong in their professional environment. Chief Petty Officer Jackson, the senior SEAL present, addressed her with barely concealed condescension. "Thompson, we're here to observe your unique approach to precision shooting. Mind explaining why you chose to paint a military weapon to look like a child's toy?" Riley set up her shooting position with mechanical precision, adjusting her bipod and checking her scope settings before responding. "Chief, the color doesn't affect ballistic performance. Function matters more than appearance." "But appearance matters for unit cohesion and professional standards," Jackson countered. "How are we supposed to take you seriously when your weapon looks like it belongs in a toy store?" "You're supposed to judge performance, not aesthetics," Riley replied evenly, settling into her shooting position behind the pink rifle. The first phase of her demonstration involved standard precision shots at 800, 1,000, and 1,200 meters. Riley's technique was textbook perfect: controlled breathing, steady trigger pull, minimal movement between shots. Each bullet found its target with mechanical precision, grouping within tolerances that impressed even skeptical observers. "Not bad," admitted Petty Officer Rodriguez, after Riley completed a 5-shot group at 1,200 meters that measured less than 3 inches. "But these are controlled conditions with minimal variables." Riley made an adjustment to her scope and prepared for the second phase of her demonstration: shots at extended ranges under challenging conditions. The targets were positioned at 1,500, 1,800, and 2,000 meters, distances where environmental factors became critical and most shooters struggled to maintain accuracy. The pink rifle spoke with mechanical precision, each shot finding its mark despite crosswinds that would have defeated lesser equipment and shooters. Riley's calculations for wind drift, temperature effects, and bullet drop were flawless, her execution textbook perfect. By the end of the session, the SEAL's expressions had shifted from mockery to grudging respect. Even Chief Jackson seemed impressed, though he maintained his skeptical demeanor. "Thompson, your shooting is undeniably accurate," Jackson acknowledged, "but combat isn't a controlled environment. Can you perform under pressure, with lives on the line, when everything goes wrong?" Riley packed her equipment methodically before responding. "Chief, I guess we'll find out when the situation arises." She had no idea that situation would arise in less than 12 hours. At 1847 hours, Riley was cleaning her rifle in the armory when the base alarm began wailing, the distinctive pattern that indicated immediate threat conditions. She secured her weapon and reported to the operations center, where controlled chaos erupted around multiple communication stations. "Intelligence intercept indicates high-value target in grid square Delta 7, announced Colonel Hayes, the base commander, to the assembled personnel. "Enemy General Coordinating Regional Operations has established temporary command post in Mountain Fortress approximately 3,500 meters from our forward observation position." Riley felt her pulse quicken. 3,500 meters was beyond the effective range of most sniper systems, beyond the distance where precise shots were considered possible under field conditions. "Sir, what's the mission profile?" asked Chief Jackson. "Target elimination," Colonel Hayes replied grimly. "This general has been coordinating attacks against civilian populations and American forces for 18 months. Intelligence indicates he'll be at this location for exactly 4 hours before moving to a more secure position." "Sir, 3,500 meters is an extremely challenging shot," Jackson observed. "We'd need perfect conditions and exceptional equipment to even attempt engagement at that range." Colonel Hayes looked around the room, his gaze settling on Riley and her pink rifle case. "Thompson, what's the maximum effective range of your weapon system?" Riley considered the question carefully. Her rifle was capable of accurate shots beyond 2,000 meters under controlled conditions, but 3,500 meters pushed the boundaries of what was physically possible with small arms. "Sir, under optimal conditions with precise environmental data, I can engage targets effectively to 2,800 meters. Beyond that range, environmental variables become extremely difficult to predict and compensate for." "But it's theoretically possible," Hayes pressed. "Theoretically, yes, sir, but the probability of successful engagement decreases significantly with distance." Hayes studied the tactical situation on his displays, weighing risks and options. "Thompson, this is a volunteer mission. The shot is at the extreme edge of possibility, environmental conditions are marginal, and there's no guarantee of success. But this target represents a significant threat to American forces and civilian populations." Riley thought about the months of mockery, the dismissive comments, the assumptions about her capabilities based on her weapon's appearance. This was exactly the moment Chief Jackson had described: combat conditions where everything mattered and nothing could be controlled. "I'll take the shot, sir." The mission preparation took 3 hours. Riley studied satellite imagery of the target area, analyzed weather reports for wind patterns and atmospheric conditions, and calculated ballistic solutions for the extreme range engagement. Her custom ammunition was hand-selected for consistency, each cartridge inspected and measured to ensure identical performance characteristics. The observation post was located on a ridgeline with clear sight lines to the enemy position. Riley established her shooting position with painstaking precision, using surveying equipment to measure exact distances and elevations. Her spotting scope revealed the target building clearly, a fortified structure where the enemy general would appear for exactly one brief window of opportunity. Chief Jackson and 3 other SEALs accompanied her as observers, their previous mockery replaced by professional interest in whether she could accomplish what everyone considered impossible. Range to target, 3,487 meters, Jackson confirmed through his ranging equipment. Wind variable from southeast at 8 to 12 knots. Temperature dropping as sun sets. These are not optimal conditions for extreme precision work. Riley made final adjustments to her scope, calculating compensation for the multiple variables that affected bullet flight at such extreme distances. Air density, wind drift, Coriolis effect, and gravitational drop all became critical factors when shooting across nearly 2 miles of open terrain. Target window opens in 15 minutes, Jackson announced. Intelligence indicates the general will appear on the building's observation deck for approximately 90 seconds to conduct site inspection. Riley settled behind her pink rifle, controlling her breathing and heart rate while running through final mental calculations. At 3,487 meters, her bullet would take nearly 4 seconds to reach the target, traveling in a ballistic arc that required perfect prediction of environmental conditions. Movement in target building, Jackson reported through his spotting scope. Multiple personnel visible through windows. Estimated time to target appearance, 5 minutes. Riley's finger found the trigger guard, her body settling into the shooting position she had practiced thousands of times. The pink rifle, which had generated so much mockery, was about to attempt the most challenging shot of her career. Target visible, Jackson whispered. Male subject in military uniform appearing on observation deck. Positive identification confirmed. This is our high-value target. Through her scope, Riley could see a figure in enemy uniform surveying the surrounding terrain through binoculars. The target appeared tiny at such extreme distance, barely distinguishable as human through the powerful magnification of her optics. She made final wind adjustments, accounting for the crosswind that would push her bullet off course during its 4-second flight time. The mathematical calculations were staggering. She needed to aim nearly 6 feet to the left and 12 feet high to compensate for all the factors affecting bullet trajectory. Wind steady at 10 knots from southeast, Jackson reported. Atmospheric conditions stable. You have optimal firing window now. Riley controlled her breathing, feeling her heart rate slow to the rhythm that indicated perfect shooting condition. The crosshairs settled on empty air beside the target, the precise point where physics and mathematics determined her bullet needed to pass through to intercept the enemy general 3,487 meters away. Her finger applied steady pressure to the trigger, squeezing straight back with textbook precision until the firing pin released with mechanical certainty. The pink rifle fired. For 3.8 seconds, the bullet traveled through space at 2,800 feet per second, following a ballistic trajectory that accounted for gravitational drop, wind drift, air density, and Coriolis effect. The projectile traced an invisible arc across nearly 2 miles of mountain terrain, carrying with it the culmination of years of training, months of mockery, and the hopes of everyone who had ever doubted whether a pink rifle could deliver lethal precision. Through his spotting scope, Chief Jackson watched the target area with professional intensity, waiting to see if the impossible shot would find its mark. The enemy general's head exploded. "Holy, direct hit," Jackson whispered, his voice filled with awe. "Target eliminated. I repeat, target eliminated with single shot at 3,487 meters. Riley remained motionless behind her rifle, processing what had just occurred. She had made the longest confirmed kill in military history with a weapon that everyone had dismissed as a joke. The pink rifle had delivered precision that defied belief and silenced every critic permanently. The other SEALs stared at her with expressions ranging from shock to respect to complete amazement. The weapon they had mocked, the shooter they had dismissed, had just accomplished something that would be studied and analyzed for decades. "Thompson," Chief Jackson said slowly, "that was the most incredible shot I've witnessed in 15 years of military service. How the hell did you make that calculation?" Riley began breaking down her shooting position, packing her equipment with the same methodical precision she applied to everything. "Physics, mathematics, and practice, Chief. The color of the rifle doesn't affect ballistic performance." "No kidding," Jackson replied, shaking his head in amazement. "I owe you an apology. We all do. That shot was legendary." The return to base took 2 hours, during which news of Riley's impossible shot spread through unofficial channels to every unit in the region. By the time they arrived at Forward Operating Base Vanguard, word had reached personnel who understood the significance of what she had accomplished. Colonel Hayes met them at the vehicle checkpoint, his expression serious but approving. "Thompson, intelligence confirms the target has been eliminated. That shot just disrupted enemy operations across the entire regional command structure." "Thank you, sir. Just doing my job." "That wasn't just doing your job," Hayes replied firmly. "That was rewriting the textbook on what's possible in precision shooting. The shot will be analyzed by ballistics experts, studied at sniper schools, and remembered as one of the most remarkable demonstrations of marksmanship in military history." Over the following days, Riley found herself transformed from an object of mockery to something approaching a legend. The SEALs who had dismissed her pink rifle now treated her with genuine respect, understanding that they had witnessed something unprecedented. Chief Jackson approached her during a quiet moment in the armory. "Thompson, I need to say this officially. I was wrong about you, and I was wrong about judging equipment by appearance. That rifle, regardless of its color, is obviously a precision instrument in the hands of an exceptional marksman." "Thank you, Chief. I appreciate that. Can I ask why you painted it pink in the first place?" Riley smiled, the first genuine smile she had shown in months. "Because I got tired of people not taking me seriously based on assumptions. I figured if they were going to underestimate me anyway, I might as well give them a reason. And now everyone knows that deadly comes in all colors." The formal recognition came 2 weeks later during a ceremony attended by senior military officials from multiple commands. Riley received the Bronze Star for her actions with a citation that read, "For exceptional courage and extraordinary marksmanship resulting in the elimination of a high-value enemy target under extreme conditions, contributing significantly to operational success and the protection of American forces." But the real victory wasn't the medal or the recognition. The real victory was proving that excellence transcends appearance, that capability matters more than conformity, and that the most effective weapons are often the ones that nobody expects. Riley kept the pink paint on her rifle, not as a joke anymore, but as a reminder that strength comes in many forms and that the most dangerous opponents are often the ones you underestimate. The SEALs stopped calling it Barbie's dream gun. Now they called it the Pink Death, and they said it with respect. 6 months later, Riley received orders to transfer to the Army Marksmanship Unit, where she would train the next generation of precision shooters. Her first lecture to incoming students began with a simple statement. Excellence isn't about meeting expectations, it's about exceeding them so completely that expectations become irrelevant. She gestured to her pink rifle mounted on the wall behind her. This weapon has been mocked, dismissed, and underestimated by people who confused appearance with capability. It has also made the longest confirmed kill shot in military history. The students stared at the shocking pink rifle with new understanding. "The lesson here isn't about paint colors," Riley continued. "It's about the danger of assumptions. When you assume someone isn't capable based on surface characteristics, you create opportunities for them to prove you catastrophically wrong." One student raised his hand. "Ma'am, why did you keep the pink paint after proving your point?" Riley smiled. Because I like reminding people that death doesn't care about your aesthetic preferences. The enemy general who died at 3,487 meters learned that lesson permanently. And, she added with a slight grin, because pink is a perfectly practical color for a precision instrument. It just happens to be a precision instrument that delivers fatal accuracy instead of childhood entertainment. The pink rifle remained legendary throughout Riley's career, eventually earning display in the Army's Museum of Significant Weapons. The placard beneath it read, "Custom sniper rifle used by Staff Sergeant Riley Thompson to achieve the longest confirmed kill in military history, 3,487 meters. Proof that effectiveness transcends expectations." But Riley's favorite description came from Chief Jackson, who had become a close colleague and friend. That rifle taught everyone on base that the most dangerous weapon isn't always the one that looks the most intimidating. Sometimes it's the one that nobody takes seriously until it's too late. Years later, when asked about the significance of her famous shot, Riley's response was characteristically direct. The shot proved that precision is colorblind. Physics doesn't care about paint jobs, and neither do results. The enemy general certainly didn't care about the color of the bullet that killed him. The pink rifle had delivered the ultimate punchline to 18 months of mockery, 3,487 meters of mathematical perfection that silenced every critic and redefined what was possible in precision shooting. And Staff Sergeant Riley Thompson had proven that sometimes the best revenge is being undeniably lethally excellent at exactly the moment when everyone expects you to fail. The aftermath of Riley's legendary shot created ripple effects that extended far beyond Forward Operating Base Vanguard. Within hours, encrypted communications carried news of the impossible kill to military commands worldwide. Ballistics experts at the Army Research Laboratory requested detailed analysis of the shot parameters, environmental conditions, and equipment specifications. "Thompson," Colonel Hayes called her into his office 3 days after the mission. "I've received inquiries from the Pentagon, Special Operations Command, and the Army Marksmanship Unit. Everyone wants to understand how you achieved what's being called the most technically challenging shot in military history." Riley sat at attention, still processing the transformation in how she was being treated. "Sir, the shot required optimal environmental conditions, precise calculations, and equipment modified beyond standard specifications. It was an exceptional circumstance rather than a repeatable tactical technique. Nevertheless, your achievement has generated significant interest in advanced long-range precision capabilities. The Secretary of Defense has requested a comprehensive report on your methods, equipment modifications, and training protocols." Hayes slid a classified folder across his desk. "You're being temporarily assigned to the Army Research and Development Command to work with ballistics engineers in analyzing your shot and developing improved long-range systems." Riley opened the folder to find orders that would change her career trajectory permanently. Instead of remaining a field operator, she was being elevated to the level of technical specialist whose innovations would influence military doctrine. "Sir, I'm honored by the assignment, but I prefer field operations to laboratory work." "Thompson, your field operation just advanced long-range precision technology by several years. The military needs operators who can bridge the gap between theoretical possibility and practical application. You've proven you can do both." 2 weeks later, Riley found herself at Aberdeen Proving Ground in Maryland, working alongside civilian scientists and military engineers who treated her pink rifle like a holy relic. The weapon was analyzed, measured, X-rayed, and tested with instruments that revealed modifications she had made through years of obsessive refinement. Sergeant Thompson, Dr. Patricia Chen, the lead ballistics engineer, examined printouts showing the rifle's internal specifications. "Your barrel modifications create harmonic dampening that reduces accuracy degradation at extreme ranges. How did you determine these precise measurements?" Trial and error over 3 years, ma'am. I tested thousands of rounds at various distances, documenting performance variations and adjusting components until I achieved optimal consistency. Without computer modeling or laboratory testing? Yes, ma'am. I used empirical observation and mathematical analysis to identify improvement opportunities. Dr. Chen exchanged glances with her colleagues. Sergeant, you've essentially conducted advanced materials engineering through practical experimentation. Your modifications represent innovations that our laboratory teams have been trying to achieve through theoretical modeling. Riley spent 6 months at Aberdeen Proving Ground, working with scientists who reverse engineered her empirical discoveries into reproducible manufacturing processes. Her pink rifle became the template for a new generation of precision weapons that would eventually be fielded by special operations units worldwide. But the most significant development wasn't technological. It was cultural. News of Riley's achievement spread through military communities with the power of legend. The story of the female sniper with the pink rifle who had silenced an entire base full of skeptics became required reading at military academies, leadership schools, and diversity training programs. The Riley Thompson effect, as it came to be known in military psychology circles, described the phenomenon where exceptional performance by underestimated individuals forced organizations to reconsider their assumptions about capability and potential. Lieutenant Colonel Sarah Martinez, who taught leadership at West Point, incorporated Riley's story into her curriculum on recognizing and developing talent. The pink rifle represents more than unconventional weapon customization, she told her cadets. It represents the danger of conflating appearance with capability, the cost of institutional bias, and the transformative power of giving people opportunities to exceed expectations. Meanwhile, Riley's former colleagues at Forward Operating Base Vanguard found themselves dealing with unexpected consequences of her fame. Media attention, military historians, and ballistics experts arrived regularly to interview anyone who had witnessed the legendary shot. Chief Jackson, who had once been the most vocal critic of Riley's pink rifle, became its most passionate defender in conversations with visiting researchers. I was wrong about her from day one, he admitted during one such interview. We saw the pink paint and assumed she wasn't serious about her profession. We confused unconventional choices with incompetence. That rifle taught us that our assumptions said more about our limitations than hers. What's the most important lesson from this experience? Asked the researcher. Never underestimate someone based on how their tools look, Jackson replied immediately. Judge performance, not appearance. Results, not conformity. That pink rifle delivered the most precise shot any of us had ever witnessed, and we almost missed recognizing that excellence because we were distracted by paint color. 6 months after her temporary assignment began, Riley received orders that surprised everyone. Promotion to Sergeant First Class and assignment as the Army's first Special Applications Marksmanship Instructor, a position created specifically to leverage her unique combination of practical expertise and theoretical innovation. Her new role involved training elite shooters from multiple military branches in advanced long-range techniques, but more importantly, she was tasked with identifying and developing unconventional talent that might be overlooked by traditional assessment methods. Sergeant First Class Thompson, General Patricia Hayes, Deputy Chief of Staff for Personnel, addressed her during the promotion ceremony. Your achievement represents more than exceptional marksmanship. It represents the military's ongoing evolution in recognizing and leveraging diverse forms of excellence. Riley stood at attention in her dress uniform, the pink rifle displayed prominently on the wall behind the general, a visual reminder of how unconventional approaches could produce extraordinary results. Your new position involves more than technical training, General Hayes continued. You'll be identifying soldiers whose potential might be underestimated due to non-traditional approaches, unconventional methods, or simple bias. The military cannot afford to overlook talent because it doesn't fit expected patterns. Riley's first assignment in her new role involved reviewing applications from soldiers who had been passed over for advanced training programs. Her mission was to identify individuals whose actual capabilities exceeded their official evaluations, people whose potential had been missed because they didn't conform to standard expectations. The work proved more challenging than any long-range shot she had ever attempted. Institutional bias, entrenched thinking, and resistance to change created obstacles that couldn't be overcome through superior marksmanship alone. But Riley had learned something valuable from her experience with the pink rifle. Sometimes the most effective approach was to be so undeniably excellent that arguments became irrelevant. She began developing training programs that emphasized results over methods, performance over conformity, and innovation over tradition. Her courses became legendary for producing exceptional marksmen who might never have been identified through conventional screening processes. The Thompson method, as it became known throughout sniper communities, focused on identifying individuals with exceptional spatial intelligence, mathematical aptitude, and obsessive attention to detail, regardless of their background, appearance, or conventional military bearing. 3 years after her famous shot, Riley received the Army Commendation Medal for her contributions to military training doctrine. The citation recognized her role in identifying and developing talent that had transformed multiple special operations units. But her greatest satisfaction came from letters she received from soldiers whose careers had been transformed by opportunities she had provided, people who had been overlooked, underestimated, or dismissed until someone looked past surface characteristics to evaluate actual capability. One such letter came from Specialist Maria Gonzalez, who had been rejected by 3 different sniper schools before Riley identified her potential during a routine marksmanship evaluation. "Sergeant First Class Thompson," the letter read, "I want you to know that your belief in unconventional excellence changed my life. Yesterday I made a 2,400-meter shot that eliminated a high-value target and saved countless civilian lives. 3 years ago, I was told I didn't have the right temperament for precision shooting. Thank you for proving that excellence comes in many forms." Riley kept that letter in her office, alongside dozens of others from soldiers whose potential had been unlocked through programs that judged capability rather than conformity. The pink rifle remained displayed in her training facility, not as a novelty or conversation piece, but as a teaching tool that demonstrated the danger of assumptions and the power of persistence. "This weapon," she would tell each new class of students, "represents the most important lesson in military effectiveness. Never let other people's limitations become your limitations. Excellence doesn't require permission, approval, or conventional appearance. It only requires dedication to being undeniably good at what matters most." Years later, when military historians analyzed Riley's impact on modern warfare doctrine, they identified her achievement as a watershed moment in recognizing diverse forms of military excellence. The pink rifle had done more than eliminate an enemy general at impossible range. It had eliminated assumptions about what effective military equipment should look like and who should be taken seriously as combat operators. Thanks for watching. If you liked this video, you can subscribe to see more incredible stories like this one.